Hi, it's Julie, and welcome to a cooking revolution. And I am here today with my friend Linda. Even though you can't see her in her kitchen, she had to go and get something out of the refrigerator, and she'll be right back. But she just has been wanting to cook and just couldn't get motivated to do it. So I said, let's cook together because if we cook together, you'll cook. And she just had some things in the refrigerator, nothing, not anything that she could really think about what she wanted to make from it. So we're going to find out. Oh, she's got stock. Is this
Homemade
vegetable?
vegetable stock.
Yay. Yeah, I have some too over here. You keep yours in a jar. That's nice. I keep mine. You can tell that we used to have a food business
Uh-huh.
because have I have this size, I have the next size, and I have the even bigger size. But I don't use those anymore. So yeah, I've got my vegetable stock here
You got it.
because we're gonna make soup. I was
Woohoo!
telling Linda it's only 88 degrees here. It is January the 15th,
Mm-hmm.
and it's 88 degrees in San Diego. And what's the temperature?
Crazy.
What's the temperature in Minnesota?
That's about 30.
I'd like somewhere in between. Those two numbers would be perfect for me.
70 would be good. 72.
70, 60, 70. Yeah, I would love that.
Yeah.
So anyway, I know that you have a squash, but what other vegetables do you have that we're gonna put in
So I
this soup?
have onions, I have kale, I have carrots, I have some beets, I have celery, I have a rutabaga.
Rutabaga.
A
Whoa.
rutabaga.
Yeah.
A big
Sounds
rutabaga.
a rutabaga. Yeah.
I, let's see, what else?
I haven't
I have some
the
green
rutabaga.
onions, a little bit of a red pepper, and that's about it. But I have plenty of kale.
Okay. Well, I know we're gonna use squash. I
Okay.
know we're gonna use kale. You can use some
Okay.
carrot. You can use
Okay.
your rutabaga if you want to.
I do.
I think it'll go great in this soup. I actually have these little Tokyo turnips. They're salad turnips, and I made
Forgot I have this too.
cauliflower. I have cauliflower, but I decided not to put it
Okay.
in my soup.
Okay.
If you want some in yours, you can put it. It'll be good.
Okay.
I just decided that I'm not going to use mine. Mine's purple, and I just
Yes.
didn't want it to get, you know,
Okay.
overshadowed by the
You
other.
didn't want a purple soup.
Well, it wouldn't turn the soup purple, but I was worried that it would kind of diminish the cauliflower purpleness of the
Okay.
cauliflower to cook it in this soup. So because the kale is going to be really bright. Although I
It
don't,
will.
anyway, so I've got these little bitty carrots. I've already cut one, and I have another
Oh,
one.
you're way ahead of me.
I always cut some ahead of time because I can't talk and cut very well at the same time. Oh, that's your rutabaga.
It's huge.
Wow. I don't know if you want to use all of that. You
No, I
might,
won't use all of it, but look
maybe
at that.
half of it.
Okay.
And you know what you could do with the rest of it is roast it.
Oh,
Cube it like you would a potato and
yeah.
roast it in the oven.
Sounds great. I'd
Really
love to do
good.
that. Maybe
Yeah.
I'll do that anyway because I feel like I could use a lot more grounding root vegetables these days. I don't know about
Yeah.
you.
And you could do that with your cauliflower also.
You're
Cut it
right.
up
I
into little
think I will do
pieces
that.
and roast the cauliflower and the rutabaga, and then you'll have that,
Oh, good.
for a quick lunch, with some salad or whatever, or to put on a sandwich. I love vegetable sandwiches. I just,
Yummy. Here's
while we're
my kale.
talking, I'm going to say a sandwich that I love is to slice. Ah, yay! Um, I love to slice winter squash into like slabs
Mm,
and roast it
yum.
and put it on a sandwich.
Yum.
Oh,
That
good.
sounds great.
So good with like arugula or whatever kind of lettuce or spinach. Yeah. So I think you have a Hubbard. You still have that Hubbard squash.
I do. It looks
But
like
I
it's
think
kind of.
I think that butternut squash is probably going to be the best bet. Yeah, because once you cut that, you're really going to have to commit yourself to using it.
Okay, so
So
this squash it is. I'll probably just cut off the
cut
top
off
and
the
use.
top. Yeah, and I think I'm
Okay.
using. I'm not sure how to say this. I think it's called a koji nut squash. It's like a hybrid of
Oh,
a butternut and a something. I don't know.
never
A
heard of it.
kabocha. I think it's a hybrid of a kabocha
Oh, it's a kabocha.
and a butternut. So
Okay.
I have a kabocha here, and I also have a honey nut, which is another hybrid. Um, and I really think I'm going to use the kabocha because I've had it the longest. Is that a pepper?
Yeah, it's kind of shrivelly. Can I use
If
it?
you want to put it in, yeah, it'll go. It'll go.
Okay.
So I think I'm going to use my kabocha. I've had it the longest, and it's starting to look kind of old and not bad. Just maybe it's just dusty. I don't know. So I'm going to use the kabocha, and probably I'm only going to use about half of it. So we're just going to chop whatever vegetables you want to use. I need to.
Okay.
Okay. Sorry, I wanted to silence my phone. I thought I heard my phone ding, and I didn't want any ringing or dinging or whatever. Did you ever get a new knife, Linda?
No, I forgot to ask Santa for one.
Yeah. Okay. Well, maybe I don't know.
Valentine's Day.
Maybe Valentine's Day, someone's gonna get you a knife. All right.
Maybe I'll do it.
Just cut your vegetables. I always say the smaller they are, the faster it cooks. But you like them chunky. So if you want them chunky, then you make them chunky. So just
Okay.
I'm gonna have like my hard vegetables in one, and then the onion and garlic. You have garlic. I'm sure you have garlic.
I have garlic.
The onion and garlic are going to
so
go
happy. Garlic.
Yeah, I know. So you can use, as much as you want. I know that
Thank
you like a lot of garlic. So you cut your vegetables how you want, and I'm going to cut mine how I want, and I'm going to tilt this down here so I can see, or not so I can see, so you can see what I'm doing, and I'm going to cut the tops and the tails off of my turnips. And if I were Linda, I would be saving all these pieces here in my freezer to make stock.
Yeah.
But I still don't do that. I just
You're missing out, Julie.
I know. I'm gonna start doing that, but I always just use fresh vegetables. So
can I offer something here?
Sure.
So like these jars of stock, like what I love so much about it is, if your stock is boiling and you've got clean jars and clean lids, it self-seals and it keeps for like a really, really long time in the refrigerator.
Yeah, and the same goes for your soup. You load your jars with the hot soup and seal it.
Right, because then I have soup whenever I need, because I'm not always that good at preparing food,
Yeah. Well, actually, if you're using all vegetables anyway, it keeps for a long time, a lot longer than what most people think. So you've already got that in addition to your sealing it in the hot soup in a jar, which keeps it even longer. So, all right, I'm going to try to cut this kabocha. I need to wash it first.
I'm excited.
Yeah.
I'm so happy. I have missed cooking with you, Julie.
Yeah, we haven't cooked.
My house has suffered from not cooking with you.
I haven't cooked for, I don't know, at least a month, maybe longer than that. I can't even remember.
It was at least November or maybe early December.
Yeah, I think I'm going to have to get my cleaver out to cut this kabocha. Maybe. Ew. Pretty firm. It's small, but it's still really firm. See, this is the danger part, but it can be done. Just
A lot of work.
keep your hands away. You just rock your knife back and forth until you get it all the way
Oh,
through.
rocking.
Your butternut will be a lot easier to cut.
Think so?
I've done this ahead of time. Got my husband to cut it.
Dang it. This is this rutabaga. I'm like, why did I decide to do this rutabaga?
Yeah.
No, the rocking is a godsend. That's actually the trick.
Yeah, when you rock your knife back and forth, that really helps to get it through there.
Tell me about the qualities of the rutabaga, Julie.
What?
Tell me about the qualities of the rutabaga. What will it do for the soup?
Well, it's going to be kind of like a turnip, except
Okay.
rutabagas are a little bit sweeter than turnip.
Okay.
So it's just going to add another dimension of flavor. You know, if you could leave it out and it's not anything, but adding it will just give it another flavor. This will be sort of like, I think we made a winter squash stew one time.
Yeah.
It'll be similar to that.
Okay.
However, I think the main ingredient in this is going to be the squash. Oh, I just love the color of kabocha squash. I don't know if you can see.
That's beautiful.
So it's like a burnt orange, white orange of the butternut.
How lovely.
So, and it
Lovely.
gives really a rich flavor to whatever it's in. I don't know if you can see. Well, you're not even there. So I need to wipe this cutting board off a little bit. There. All right, and I'm just going to do 1/2 right now. So you don't even have to cut seeds out because you're just cutting the top part, right?
Exactly. Now I do have a question for you. I have an order here, right? Because I've got onion and garlic. So those are the first thing to go in to saute, right?
First thing to go in will be the onion and garlic, just for, you know, a few minutes, 2, 3, 4 minutes, whenever it starts to soften. And then you're going to put the other vegetables in.
So I'm going to cut that up right now, the onion and the garlic, so I can do that. And then I'm probably going to need to consult you just a little bit on quantities, but I'll let you do your flow because you got your thing going and slightly different ingredients.
I like to, it's really best to get all of the vegetables cut before you start the onion and garlic, because
that's a good point.
Otherwise, you're going to burn your onion and garlic. Usually, once you have it on really low. If you have it on really low, then you'll be fine.
You're right.
You'll have to be going to check on it, and it's
that doesn't. You think you're going to save time, but you're not.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes I do that, and sometimes I kind of pay the price on having burnt garlic, but I don't mind. I don't mind burnt garlic. I kind of like burnt garlic. I don't know. I'm strange like that.
That is kind of strange, but I'm willing to try it and see what happens.
So, well, I mean,
unusual. Let's just say it's unusual.
When I was growing up, I loved burnt popcorn, and my brother and I would race to the popcorn popper, you know, try to get the burnt popcorn before the other one. So anyway,
wow,
strange stories of
that's awesome.
We would always leave it cooking a little bit long so that some of it would burn. And
you're not alone. You're not alone. We had one of those aluminum ones that you put that was an electric one.
Yeah.
It seemed like you would almost always have sunburned, you know. I never liked.
It was like this little 2-part thing. The bottom part was an electric, had these electric wires in it. And then you set the pot on top of it.
Yep, exactly.
You did your popcorn in.
That one.
I was so sad because I'm the one that got to take it with me when I moved out. And I was so sad when it broke and I couldn't find a replacement for it.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
These anymore?
No, why not? They were so good.
So, and by that time, microwave popcorn was the thing. So it was even challenged to find a popcorn popper, but anyway.
Burnt microwave popcorn is not safe,
no,
I'm sure.
That's not good.
Not good for so many
Okay,
reasons.
let's throw the bag away. Yeah.
So I'm just going to tell you, I know the roasting vegetables piece because we've done that before and it was so amazing.
Yeah.
In fact, I looked at my fresh marjoram in my freezer today and I'm like, oh, I wish I could use that again. And I'm like, oh, here's my chance.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to like really take this whole bulb of garlic and get it ready because I know some of that gets just roasted in that oven at 400 degrees.
Yeah.
So I don't remember how we did it so perfect. The next time I did it, it was not that great. But just so you know, I'm planning ahead here a little bit because that was so good.
Well, you know, one thing you can do on your roasted garlic, if you're gonna do it whole, is you can wrap it in foil.
Yeah.
And that will roast it. That will make it be softer.
Yeah.
I think one time we just threw the cloves on top of.
And then we mashed them into it, which was so good. That was so good, Julie. That's what I'm dreaming of right now. But you're right. I could have just stuck the whole thing in some foil and I would have had the same effect without all the extra work here. So note to self.
Yeah, because if you do that, then it'll soften really well and you just kind of mash it out.
Yeah, but I didn't do that. So now I'm just doing what I'm doing. But this is how we learn, right, Julie?
Yeah, you just learn from doing it, trying it and seeing if it works. If it doesn't work, then you go, okay, next time I won't do it that way.
And your knife rocking is the right way of talking about how to cut into this. Because if you do it any other way, you're going to slip.
Yeah.
But the knife rocking makes it really doable. And I really want to thank you for making me understand that because I didn't before.
Even when you're cutting it into slices, like this is really, really firm. I don't know if your butter is going to be that firm.
It's firm.
Cutting the slices, I'm having to rock my knife back and forth.
Yeah, I believe you.
This is a pretty sharp knife. It's just this.
Yeah, you got a great knife.
This is just really hard.
Oh, Julie, there's nothing like using fresh vegetables. I haven't, I had that CSA box this summer and we cooked every week and I felt so great and I've gotten away from it. But now that I'm back, I feel instant joy and well-being coming back into my whole being, it's so good. Thank you.
Oh, I'm
Thank you for being my healer here. I had a date with my healer.
I'm a cooking healer.
You are.
So, but really, yeah, getting in the kitchen, I know a lot of people think that it's just a chore to have to get in here, but it's kind of, it's sort of like therapy. If you're feeling frustrated about something, well, just cut those vegetables really hard,
Perfect.
Just don't overdo it and cut yourself, but
no.
But it can be,
be deliberate. Okay, Julie, I got my squash, my top off. Now I want to cut it down the middle, right? Or in half.
Yeah.
In half again, probably.
Yes. So you cut the very top part off too?
I cut the very top part off.
Okay. And then you've got the neck of it. Yeah. So you'll want to cut that in half to make it easier to handle.
Okay, I've got a situation. It's slipping and I have this going on. I guess I'll get a washcloth and hold on to it.
Yeah.
Washcloth. There we go.
Yeah, and then stand it upright.
I had a situation, but I'm okay now. Safety first.
You stood it upright. Maybe it was a little too tall to do that.
I think it was a little too tall and I wasn't confident.
Yeah, I mean, I would do that, but you don't have the same confidence. I
think that's one of the key messages, isn't it? If you're not confident, do not do it.
Right. And I've been doing, I've been cutting squash for a number of years now. We used to make a lot when we had our business. We made a lot of winter squash soups, in the fall and the winter. So, because we always did seasonal. I just feel it's really important to eat seasonally, eat what's in season, at the time.
Yep.
Strawberries are good any time of year, but if they're not in season, they're not as good. So
Yeah, this is so
your
good.
body actually wants you to eat seasonally. You just don't realize it until you start eating seasonally. Because it's funny because for me, I start thinking around August that I'm wanting to eat winter squash, because it's not
It's starting.
it's not in the
Yeah.
market yet,
Oh,
but I know it's going to come soon, and then I'm just like, oh, I can't wait till winter squash season. And
I
then
didn't know how much I missed this squash. Oh my gosh.
yeah, I mean, you can buy it in the grocery store any time of year actually, but it's just not the same.
Here's the other reason. We talked about this a little earlier today. Because it's not in season, that means it's coming from somewhere else where it is in season. And we're using a ton of natural resources, including petroleum. Can I say that? I can say that on your show.
Yeah, definitely.
So it's not, if you're looking to have an impact on the environment, buy seasonal, buy those things that are available locally, limit the other things, or
as
maybe get
local
them
as
frozen.
possible. I mean,
But yeah,
like you live in Minnesota, you don't have a
right.
whole lot of things growing in
No,
Minnesota right now.
No, but that's why squashes are available there, and
Right, because squash, you can pick that. And in fact, this squash that I'm cutting right now is probably picked, I don't know, maybe in November. I've had it for a couple of months now.
I know, isn't it amazing?
And it's still perfect. So
So I'm going to say something else, Julie. I know you like to cook your squash smaller because it cooks faster, but there was something so satisfying about picking up a large chunk of squash and eating it off a fork in my soup that I'm going big. I'm going big.
yeah, you cook it, you decide how you like it.
Yeah, but I just wanted to share that was my experience, and it was very, very, very satisfying.
Yeah. I like things to cook, and maybe this is partly from our business. I wanted things to cook faster because the longer it took to cook, the more time it took us.
Yeah, you didn't have time.
And also our customers really appreciated that we cut our vegetables small.
Right.
Because so often, you get these big chunky things and you have to use a fork. They don't fit on your spoon. So
right. So Julie, I want to say to the people watching that I found it very valuable to have a dishcloth on my slippery, squash and rutabaga, just to give me stability with my knife.
Definitely. Yeah.
I'm not as strong as you are, I don't think, in my hand. So that made a big difference.
Yeah. And that's a great tip, that anytime you have some kind of a gangly vegetable or produce, whatever, put it on something, on a cloth that, on a surface that's going to help hold it. Because your cutting board is really slippery. You have to be very careful about that. I've actually had something slide off of the cutting board. Fortunately, the knife didn't go with it. I could have had a knife on my foot or something, but not that I cook barefoot, but you're not supposed to, but I do.
You could. It wouldn't be against the rules to cook barefoot.
Yeah, I do cook barefoot because I like to be barefoot. So I got my vegetables chopped, so I'm gonna go ahead and cut my onion and garlic.
Okay.
And we haven't talked about spices yet. And again, you can do this how you want it. Use the spices that you want. I'm gonna make this kind of I think I'm gonna make it kind of like a North African thing.
Ooh, sounds great.
I'm gonna have cumin and coriander and a teeny bit of cinnamon.
Wow.
And salt and pepper. And
wow.
Well, this sage isn't North African, but I have this sage. It was fresh, but now it's kind of dry.
Uh-huh.
I'm going to take a few leaves of this and crumble it up and put it in.
It sounds great.
So, yeah, I really love sage. I just don't use it very often. I don't think my husband likes it a whole lot.
You just slip it in there, huh?
So I try to be kind of light on it.
Yeah, you're thoughtful.
So, well, I want him to eat it. I don't want to have to eat all of it myself, but although I have done that before, but anyway, I've made.
So Julie,
Yeah,
I'm going to need some help with quantities when I get to that point because I'm just cutting up the stuff right now. But I'm like, and some of it you're going to be like, that's awfully big. And I'm going to be like, I know, but I want it to the tooth. And I like the idea of having a big fork full of it. It's really. So now, can I use 2 carrots? Is that too much? I guess we're going to roast them, so it doesn't matter.
You can use 2 carrots if you want.
Yeah. And I'm not going to wash them because they're organic. So I'm just going to scrub them.
Yeah, I usually wash mine anyway because I have them sitting in the refrigerator. And so I usually just wash them. You don't have to. I don't peel them.
Yeah, I don't peel them either. Yeah, the
I mean, I feel like that's a waste. You're peeling off a lot of nutrition when you're peeling a carrot.
Yep.
I mean, if you are getting stuff from the grocery store, those probably do need to be peeled because they look like they've been sitting around for a long time.
So can I share something about that? Do you mind if I add something in?
Go ahead, please.
So I know a medical doctor who's very into all of this, and he was sharing that, part of what's so healing and like a first part for almost a medical intervention, but not entirely, is to use a variety of vegetables, and that what's on them, why the skins are so, a piece of it is there's like extra fiber, but there's the healthy bacteria that are on it from growing in the dirt, and you still wash it, but I think I'm representing that well. Please jump in.
You don't need to scrub them and sanitize them, and because I mean, I know a lot of people use this vegetable spray stuff to clean them, and I'm thinking, why?
If it's organic, especially. And you know where your food came from.
Just the other day, my husband was saying, I think I got some dirt in the arugula. I said, okay. And
I thought you were gonna say, yay.
Well, I mean, I was saying, I don't think there's a problem with that, but I mean, maybe this is kind of strange. I actually like it when I open up a container that I've washed and I put it in the refrigerator. When I get like a thing of kale, I still wash it because a lot of times it has a lot of dirt on it. But then I'll put it in a container, and then a couple of days later, I'll open the container and there'll be a beetle or a ladybug, and I'm like, oh, wow, you've been through a lot.
Aw, how sweet, Julie.
And you're still here.
Yeah.
And then I take it outside and let it go. So, yeah.
In the early 90s, I worked for a 4-star Italian restaurant, and they got their organic tomatoes from a farm called Ladybug Farms.
Yeah.
And they actually released ladybugs to, as a way of, managing pests.
Yeah.
Which is really fascinating.
Yeah, that's actually a great way to get rid of aphids on tomatoes. Ladybugs, because ladybugs love aphids.
Interesting. Yeah, it's all connected. All right, so now I got my onions, my garlic, my cauliflower.
Are you putting the pepper in there also, or do you want to roast the pepper?
Well, it's kind of shrivelly. So what do you think?
Either way, I mean, it'll be good in either thing. Roasted, I think, would be good. You don't think so?
Soft. I should have put it in some container, so it's kind of like just not. Yeah, maybe I will roast it.
I think you're right.
Just do like a slab.
It's gonna. I think it'll get a lot. I need to get some water. Hang on.
I'm with you. I'm enrolled in that now.
When you
Okay.
roast a shrivelly vegetable, it really comes back to life. I mean,
Cool.
it has a lot of flavor when you do that. Okay,
All right.
I'm ready for putting my onion in.
Okay, me too.
So I'm just gonna put that in.
You usually say a tablespoon of olive oil, right? Or so?
Yeah, about a tablespoon. And yeah, and then just kind of, oh, I already have a spoon. It's like, where's my
I was very precise. Did you see me measure?
I don't measure it either, so you know, I pour
It felt
it
really
and
good.
talk about, you know, when I make hummus,
Yeah?
I don't measure the olive oil when I'm, you know,
No, you go by
I
consistency, right?
I just do this
Yeah.
and I do like 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay,
Good.
that's enough.
Right. There we go. Well, those are those secrets, you know. I hang
Yeah.
out with you and we'll know those too, right?
Yeah. I mean, some people don't use oil in their hummus, but I do.
I do.
So,
All right. So
I just saw someone do hummus without oil, and it looked really creamy. So I don't know. They used a lot of tahini in it, so
Oh,
it still
yeah.
like oil, but I don't want that much tahini flavor.
Right.
So I mean, I like tahini, but I don't want my hummus to taste like tahini. So anyway, but that's just me. I'm gonna get my kale out. I think I'm gonna use the farmer that I got this from. He does this bag called a braising mix, and I've been putting this in my green drink
Nice.
in the morning. But I
Yeah.
think this is what I'm gonna use in here. I actually
That's
have
great.
some chard, but I think I'm gonna use this because this is a little bit older, and yeah, I think it'll be nice because there's kale and there's some chard and there's what else? Maybe that's it. Just kale and chard. Look at this pretty
I'm
kale.
cooking. Sorry.
Love
I'm
this.
cooking. Look, Mom.
All right. I turn this down a little bit. And this soup actually is going to be ready. And once you start cooking the vegetables, it's only going to take like 20 minutes. Yours, because you have bigger vegetables,
Yeah.
it may take a little bit longer.
Yeah. So again, we're cooking our onions till they're slightly translucent and then adding our garlic.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And then after that, you're going to go ahead and add your other vegetables.
Okay.
And then we're not going to add the kale yet.
No.
That goes at the end.
Yeah.
And when these vegetables have just softened a little bit, then we're going to add the seasonings. So you decide what seasonings you want. I think you told me one time you're not a big fan of cumin.
Yeah, not huge, but
Oh, and I forgot, I have some lima beans. So I'm probably going to add the lima beans. I cooked them earlier in the week I've actually used them in 2 other dishes. I cooked them for an African dish that I made. It was interesting. It was a pureed greens. I think I used kale. And then it had hominy and lima beans and potatoes mixed in with it. It was interesting. I'm not sure I'll cook it again, but it tasted good. I just wasn't my thing. And then I used the lima beans last night when I made pozole, and used some of that hominy. Because I got this big can of hominy, and I'm like, okay, now I've got to make hominy every day.
Is hominy corn?
It is. And I hadn't made this in a long time because I wanted to use organic hominy.
Yeah. Yeah.
And most of it's not organic, but at this co-op that we belong to, they had, this was at the beginning of the pandemic, and I was there and I'm like, well, let's see, what kind of canned vegetables? And they had hominy. And I'm like, oh, I'm going to buy that. And I just now opened it since like March or April. And, but I still have a little bit left. I'm going to have to make one more dish. So.
All right, Julie, so our garlic and onion ready, then I add in vegetables, right?
Yes, everything but your kale.
Okay, and I want to add stock at the same time or just saute the
No, you're going to saute this for just a little bit. And then when they start to slightly soften, I mean, they're not going to get soft, but you're going to see that they're starting to cook a little bit. Then you're going to add your seasonings.
Okay.
And that way the seasonings really get into your vegetables before you add your stock.
Okay.
But I'm just chopping up my kale, even though I don't really need it yet. I'm just going ahead and chopping it while we're talking here. Oh, and I could tilt this down so you could see what I'm doing. Here. There we go. And I already got that chopped. I'll move it over here. Yeah, that's good. And the kale will only take about 5 minutes at the end to cook. I like for it to be, I don't want it to be falling apart. I like to still see the kale, but I like it to still be soft, but not mushy. Soft, but not mushy. There. So how's it going, Linda?
Well, I feel like I cooked my onions a little too much. They're super soft. Is that a problem?
It's okay. It's okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, I mean, even if they had browned a little bit, it would be okay because, I mean, that's sort of like having caramelized onion in a way. I mean, not exactly like caramelized, but it still gives it a nice flavor.
Okay.
Okay. This is another thing I like about buying from a farmer.
Yeah.
This was in my grazing mix. Just a piece of grass.
Oh.
A random piece of grass.
Yeah.
If I bought that at a store in a package, I mean, I wouldn't, but most people would be like, oh, there's a piece of grass in my bag of spinach. I'm taking it back because it's contaminated.
That's how it works. Guess what? There's grasses.
Like grass in the field.
That's how it works.
Because they don't spray.
Right? Funny.
I'm ready to season mine.
Oh, maybe I am too. Do you think I am?
Yeah, I think. I mean, you've had it cooking for a minute or two. I think that'll be good.
So can I?
What? So you want to go ahead and put salt, and I think I'm going to start with a half a teaspoon. I'm not really sure how much I'm cooking, and I don't want to over salt it. So a half a teaspoon. I'm using a half a teaspoon of cumin also. If I have that in here, I need to go get I buy my spices in bulk, so I have to get my my package to refill. I'm just going to put all of that in. I don't know how much that is, but that's enough. And some coriander and just a touch of cinnamon. I don't want it to be too cinnamony. And a little bit of black pepper.
All right, I need help. Can I put marjoram in there?
Yeah, you could.
What do you think I should put in? Actually, I'm not in the mood for marjoram. What should I put in?
Do you have time?
Yeah.
What do you have?
I have marjoram and thyme. Yeah, I have both.
Thyme would go really well. In fact, usually I put thyme in here. In fact, I still might, but
Okay. That's what I'm gonna do then.
I'm gonna, cause you know, I like thyme and everything. You know, I even in my cooking classes with kids, they know so well that the thyme is in everything. You know, they see this thyme stem come out and they're going, thyme. I have a little bit of dried thyme here. This was all fresh, but it's dried now. But
mine was in the freezer.
yeah, I just let it dry on the counter, and it's fine.
It's totally fine.
So, I mean, how do you think they get dried herbs?
You're like such the country gardener stuff, you know. You need to have your own farm where you can just go out and pick your herbs and do your thing. What I want.
You know, I've never lived on a farm. I mean, I haven't lived in a city all my life. I lived in a small town growing up, but I didn't live on a farm, even though my dad farmed. It wasn't that kind of farm. He farmed. Well, actually, when I was growing up, he didn't farm. He had a real job that he could count on money coming in. And then when we all moved out, he went back to farming. So he farmed cotton and soybeans, so it wasn't food farming. Okay, I'm ready. Ooh, I'm throwing the vegetables around and throwing them all over the stove. Okay, I'm ready to add the stock. And you just decide how much you want to add. I'm probably going to add about 3.5 cups. Because I don't want to have a lot. I mean, you probably want to have a lot so that you'll have something to eat at any time. I want to cook nearly every day, so I don't want a whole lot.
Yeah, I want my stuff so I can just open it up and eat.
Yeah, you want to have easy food. So
I have thyme and marjoram, and just it's 4:48. Anything else? I've got salt, thyme, a little marjoram, not much.
Yeah, don't put a lot of marjoram. Marjoram has I think, a really strong flavor. If you put too much in there.
Oh, it was oregano. My apologies, oregano.
Well, oregano too. Oregano has fresh oregano has a really, well, yours is dried now, but still. Is it dried or is it still, it's fresh and frozen?
It's still fresh because it was in the freezer.
Okay, but I think fresh oregano has a really strong flavor, in my opinion. So
I don't like it. I was surprised at how much I liked it. I didn't think I liked fresh oregano that much, but then I was like,
Yeah. I actually prefer to use dried oregano. I don't know, maybe that's just me. I haven't used fresh oregano in a long time. So maybe I need to try that again. All right, so this just needs to come up to a boil, and we may have to end because I probably need to end this in about 8 minutes.
okay.
So we'll come up to a boil, and we may be ready to add the kale at that time. So,
oh my God, this stock is glorious. I cooked it in December, and it just smells so absolutely divine.
yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, I love.
Do you want to see it?
Homemade. Yeah, it looks golden. Is it gold? Your stock? Oh, that looks so good. Oh, you do have huge chunks. Yeah. And you did put cauliflower in there. That's going to be so good.
Not a lot of carrot. I could probably add more carrot, but yeah, my stock, isn't it glorious?
That is so nice. You know, I, I'm from the South. It looks like iced tea.
Cute.
You know, like
And then after this is cooked, just before I'm ready to serve it, then I add in the kale pretty much, right?
yeah, you're gonna want, yeah, let this cook until everything's soft. Mine's probably gonna take about 10 minutes.
It's probably going to take about a half an hour.
Yeah, I would say 20, 25 minutes for yours, although those are some huge chunks, so maybe a half an hour.
Yeah.
And then add the kale in about 5
Okay.
minutes before you think it's ready.
Okay.
And then that's it. And then taste it. Make sure that it tastes good. You need to add more salt or whatever. Go ahead and do that. And you
I'm
just
so excited.
and
I
if you
can't
want to
even
add
tell you.
beans, if you want to
I
add
do.
beans,
Yeah.
add that when you add the kale.
Okay. And which beans?
What do you have?
I have black beans, pinto beans, cannellini beans. Might have something else. Garbanzo.
I would think garbanzo or cannellini would be the
I
best.
so too.
Because the black beans and pinto beans have, I think, too much flavor. I mean, not too much flavor. They have a flavor that I think is going to take away from the soup.
I got to tell you, Target has these low sodium, organic, very or non-GMO. Like they're really inexpensive. I like going there for this stuff.
So, and they're low sodium too.
Low sodium.
Well, when you buy canned beans, even when they are low sodium, you still want to rinse them to get off.
Yeah. I was just going to ask you because sometimes we think, oh yeah, just dump it all in, right?
Yeah, no. I haven't looked at Target for theirs. If I buy canned beans, I usually get them at Trader Joe's because they're like 99 cents.
Oh, you get it even less expensive then, yeah.
So, but they're not low sodium, which, I rinsed them before, so it doesn't really matter. But, I cook my own beans and I don't add any salt to it. So.
And that's the more eco-friendly way to go to make them. So let's next time make some beans again, or let's go through that process if you wouldn't mind.
Yeah, I know you cooked cannellini beans one time.
I did, and it turned out great. And I was able to put them on salads, and it was a wonderful, wonderful experience. I'd never done it before.
It's really nice to have them. If you cook a lot, you can make 2 or 3 different things with it, and then put some in the freezer, and you can pull that out in a couple of weeks. Maybe you're sick of cannellini beans.
That's a good point.
So you stick it in the freezer, and then you've got it for later, and then you don't even have to thaw it. You can just pull it out of the freezer and throw it in, your dish, and
it's wonderful.
They don't have to cook; they just need to thaw and get warm. So
Julie, I want you to know you have 7 minutes.
Yeah, and so I'm gonna leave in like 5.
Okay.
I've got to go to another Zoom call. I'll have to use my
phone.
Grateful. Yeah, this has been great. I have enjoyed
you
so much. And mine's starting to boil. Is yours starting? Is yours boiling yet?
It's starting to move a little.
Yeah, I almost used a smaller pot, but if you have a bigger pot, like I have here, I don't know if you can see, it takes less time to boil because there's more surface area.
Got it.
If you have a smaller diameter pot and you've got more liquid in it, I mean, it's the same amount of liquid, but it's a smaller pot, it's deeper, it takes longer for it to boil. So that's why I chose this pot, because I knew I wanted it to come to a boil quicker.
Got it. All Julie, right. May I ask you a question before you go?
Yes.
I want to roast these vegetables, right? So I have extra of the the squash and the carrots and the rutabaga and all that and cauliflower. So I'm going to toss them with olive oil and salt and some, here's where I can use my oregano and some thyme again.
Yeah.
And I'm going to put that on a baking sheet at 400 and I'm going to bake it for about 30 minutes.
20 to 30.
Okay.
I'd check it after 10 minutes, take it out and kind of shake everything around, move it all around and rearrange the pan and put it back in for another 10, 15 minutes.
And I want to put the garlic on later too, right? About 10 minutes to go yet. Is that right? Or put it on from the beginning?
If you wrap it in foil, you could.
Nope. I'm going to put it on whole.
Okay. Then yeah, you don't want it. You're not going to want it to cook for that long, but make sure you get oil on it so that it will soften. If you don't put any oil on it, then it doesn't soften very well.
Got it. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Julie, I can't tell you that those roasted vegetables were so good. I'm so looking forward to this. I can't believe how much I was craving and needing this and how grounding these root vegetables are. So thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Yes, you are welcome. And, for anyone that's watching, I'm recording this. I'm going to post it later. Anyone that's watching, if you want to cook with somebody, I'd love to cook with you. So, just message me or whatever, because we are in a cooking revolution, and I'm determined to just keep on and on until everybody's cooking, and then we're gonna cook for peace, Linda.
We're cooking for peace. Stay tuned, guys. Julie has a big announcement.
Yeah.
And I just want to say for anyone who is finding value, which I'm sure is everyone, from these sessions, that I consider Julie to be my cooking mentor, and she's been single-handedly responsible for me getting back into eating well because of this experience. So I highly recommend engaging her and letting her support you in that, because she's amazing and you learn so much, like based on what you have and what, how you like things. So I think you're putting something together as an offer for people, aren't you, Julie?
Yeah, and it's fun. It's fun. It's not a chore. It's fun. So
it's fun.
Anyway.
All right, 3 minutes to go.
Until next time, cook. Thank you. Bye.
Bye.